Hello everyone, welcome back to the series of tutorials on Python programming for beginners. I am Deepak Niyal and in this tutorial I am going to discuss about Python functions. So if you haven't seen my previous lecture, I suggest you to go back and see those videos first so that you can understand this lecture and further all the lectures. In previous lecture we discussed about Python numbers, string and then other data structures like list, tuples and dictionaries, right? So now start with this lecture. Here we are going to discuss about Python functions, and in this lecture you are going to learn what function is, its syntax and various kind of function in Python. So if you have gone through other programming languages like C, C++, Java or JavaScript, you might be knowing that what a function is. It's a group of related statements that perform a specific task, and it helps in breaking a program into smaller and modular chunks. So for a larger program, functions make it more organized and manageable, and it also helps avoiding repetition of the code and makes it reusable. So that reusability feature is very important feature. You can create a small program and use that programs in some other program, right? So now let's start with syntax of the function. In Python you have to write def, which is keyword, then function name, and then some optional arguments here. After that you have to write colon, give 4 space in next line, and write everything below this. Clear? Here you can also give some doc string. It is also called documentation string. It is also optional and used to describe the working of function. After this string you can write multiple statements. So this is statement 1. Similarly you can write statement 2 and so on up to statement n. Okay, and after that if you want to call this function you have to write function name, then put parenthesis, and if you have two arguments here you need to pass two arguments from here, right? So that depends on you. Now I will comment all these things. I am putting double quotes here because we have single quote inside. So now we have this thing. Now from the next statement I will show you one program which is a greet function. It is taking name as input and then it is printing a message. Message is hello and then name. After that we have some another message, and message is welcome back. Or maybe you can also pass some another message, how are you? Clear? So how will you call this function? You need to write greet and then pass some value here. Hello Deepak, how are you? Clear? You can also make some changes here. Right now we are hard coding the message, right? You can also pass some message here, like you can pass this how are you from function from where you are calling it. So you have to write one more argument here, name and message. Then you don't need this here, and you can write message at this place. If you want to write some doc string you can write here, this function greets with a message. Clear? Now try to execute it, and here you go, hello Deepak, how are you? So it is similar to this above function. You can also print out doc string, and for that you have to write function name dot then underscore two times before and after this doc, print this, and here is the documentation. These doc strings are generally important for the documentation of a programming language. So in Python we use this thing for documentation purpose. Clear? In this function nothing is being returned, so if you don't return anything, function returns none. You can also take it in a variable, and that variable is g. Now write greet and pass these values here, and then we'll check the value of this g, and it is none. You can also write functions that return something. So maybe I am writing a function whose name is sum. It takes two variable a b and then it return a plus b. Now call this function with value 2 and 3, and there is one thing that you can create a variable maybe with name s, and then print this s or you can directly put this sum 2 3 inside this print, and it will be same as we have done before. And now this is the answer. Clear? So that's how you return the values. In Python you can return multiple values. So return multiple values. This is function name. It's not accepting anything, but it is returning something. Or what I can do, I can create three variables here, 1 2 3, and now this will return a, b and c. Clear? Call this function and accept these variables in three other variables, x y z. You can also write abc, because here the scope and lifetime of these variables have ended. So this abc, if I write here, will be different from this abc, but for the creating difference I am writing xyz here. Now this function has returned three values, x y and z. You can print these out, x y z, and here are the three values. Clear? So we have three variables inside, and these variables of the function are recognized only inside the function and not outside. So their scope is only inside this function where they are defined. Clear? So in Python there could be two kind of functions like any other programming language. One is built-in functions and another is user defined functions. So all these functions we are writing here are user defined functions, and we have already seen some built-in functions in previous tutorial. Suppose you want to calculate max out of a list, then you can use this max function, and this is built-in function. Similarly minimum, if you want to pass some list or maybe tuple, and here is the minimum of this tuple. Clear? In Python we can pass some default arguments, and that is also similar to C++. So suppose I want to sum, or maybe I want to multiply two variables. So you have to write def multiply, and then you have to accept two variables a and b. So by default values of a and b are 2 and 3, and then you have to maybe return or print whatever you want to do, a cross b. So this is done, right? So whenever you are calling this multiply thing, you can either pass some arguments or leave it blank. So here is 6 output, because a is by default 2 and b is by default 3. You can pass your own values, maybe 20 and 3. In that case you will get the answers of these values 20 and 3, and here is the answer 60. Clear? So we have understood functions a little bit. Now try practicing something. Let's practice on Fibonacci series and prime numbers. So what I will do, I will create a function with name fib. It will take input n, and what I am going to do, I will call this function with some name. Let us suppose fib 10. I am going to call fib 10, and this function will print 10 values in the Fibonacci series. So let's start. Take two variables a and b, start them with 0 and 1, and that's how we assign values in Python. So now print these values, print a first and this with comma. Similarly you can print b also and end it with comma. Then you have to print other n numbers. So I will print this for I in range, then pass n inside this. Take another variable fib which adds these two values a plus v, and then assign b in a and this fib in b. Clear? That's how we calculate Fibonacci series. After that you have to print fib at every place, and you can end this statement with comma. Clear? You can also end this statement with space, and similarly at all other places. So now try to run this program, and here is the Fibonacci series of 10 numbers. If you want to increase this, pass 20, and here is the Fibonacci series of 20 numbers. Clear? So this is the program in C style. We can do much better than this. What you have to do, we have to use while loop for that, and just assign two numbers 0 and 1 as we are doing above. After that, use while loop and check when b is less than 10, and after that keep printing b, and then keep assigning b into a and a plus b in b, right? So let us see the output. We have 1 1 2 3 5 8. So this program is bit different than this, because this is printing, if we are passing 10, then it is printing 10 numbers, but it is printing less than 10. Clear? So we can also modify this program and make it work similar like above program. Clear? So here I can write in comments what I am going to do with these programs. Print all numbers in Fibonacci series less than n. Clear? So here 10 is the n. Now try to modify this program and use some other technique. We are modifying this program here. So we are printing all the numbers in Fibonacci series which are less than n, but here we are using list and loops, right? So let's start def, and then we have to write name of function. I am writing fibo here. It accepts the argument n, define one variable result which is list, empty list at this point, and then same thing, a b are 0 and 1. Then you can use while loop again, while b is less than n, where n is as input given by user. Then you can append everything to this result list, and here I am appending b element, and then this same statement again, b is assigned to a and a plus b is assigned to b, and when this function ends, return result back to the calling function. Clear? So just try to call this function fibo and pass 10, and here is the output which is exactly same as this output. Clear? Now we can do one more thing. We have another program, and in that we have to print prime numbers. So first try to check whether a number is prime or not. So for that, just create a function is prime. It will take one input n, and we will check whether this number is prime or not. So if number equal to 1, so what should it return? Is this number prime or not? This number is not prime, so it should return false, right? Other than this, if number equal to 2, then you don't need to check anything and just return true with this. But other than this, you have to check something, and what is that? You have to check for all the numbers in range starting from 2 to n by 2 plus 1, or actually we can modify this condition and calculate till square root of the number, but as of now just try to calculate it n by 2 and just add 1 to this. Clear? If we calculate this till square root of this number n, the program will be more efficient and its complexity will be reduced. So you can write in the comments how much complexity will be reduced of the program. So what we have to check, whether number is divisible by I or not. If number is completely divisible by the I, that means this number is not prime, and we can find out this thing at this moment only. So return false. So we have found out that this number is completely divisible by any other number. That means this number cannot be prime, because prime has a condition that it can be divided by only two numbers, either 1 or itself, right? So if you are dividing any number completely by any other number, it means surely it is not prime number, right? And can you write anything in else? No, you don't need to write anything. Just let the loop end, and if loop ends completely and it does not return false in any of the iteration you can return true. Clear? So execute this program and call this function on some numbers. 1 is false, for 2 it's true, and now pass any other number. 9 false, and that is true. For 13 it is true. For 23 it is true, very good. For 49 it's false. Clear? So I think it's enough practice on the functions. There are some more concepts on the functions that we are going to cover in future lectures, but till now if you have any doubt or query regarding any of these things, you can write in the comment and I will try to respond back. So see you in the next video with some new concept. Till then, thank you so much.